Welcome to From the Ashes, the Dungeon Crawler Network podcast all about Ashes of Creation by Intrepid Studios. Bear witness to the rebirth of the MMORPG genre from the ashes of an industry that has left the gamers behind. I'm Aggelos, founder of the Dungeon Crawler Network, and we are coming to you live once again from the Mighty Beard Tavern, and I am joined by my fantastic co-host. First up, we got Stormzord fresh from PAX East. How are you?
Tired, but great this week. Having a great time.
Glad to have you back. We missed you, and we didn't get any extra drinks when you were away, so it sucks.
I had enough there.
Nice. We also have the one and only Alpha Soul.
Doing good. Doing good here.
And Crowjack.
Steven, we need to have survivor of the old forums badges on these brand new forums we're about to talk about very shortly. We need them, Steven.
We really do. My. Anyway, we got a fun show planned for you guys this week. There's a little bit of news coming out of Intrepid Studios this week, including forums. Yeah, that's going to be a thing again. Which is a good thing, to be honest. We also have the live stream notes that we've taken. There's some really good Q&A stuff in there. And, of course, we're going to watch Moana. I mean, the Beastmasters of Niküa. Yes. You're welcome. Nice. Anyway, it'll be a fun show, guys. Let's go ahead and jump into that. But before we do, I always got to give a shout out to our amazing Patreon supporters at patreon.com/Dungeon Crawler Network, as well as our Twitch subs, including, and I'm going to say this right off the bat, we got Shirosaki with his 3 months in a row, and of course, Snack Pack with the 11 months in a row joining the Shield Wall. You guys are amazing. I have to give you a shout out right at the top of the show because this happened as soon as we went live. It was great. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much, as well as all of our other Twitch subs. And remember, though, anyone who subscribes to us on either Patreon or Twitch gets access to all of our shows at least 24 hours early, and the exclusive post shows, which are only available to live viewers and our supporters as a thank you for what you do for us. So thank you so much. And all the people who support us via leaving us iTunes review. We haven't got any new ones this week, and I was a little disappointed. It's all right. It'll be cool. We'll get there. We'll get there. But yeah, that definitely does help us out, guys. So if you are interested in supporting us, but can't do Twitch or Patreon, that's fine. You could also just leave us a 5-star review on iTunes so people know that we are a real podcast, that we say real words. Sometimes they matter. Anyway, forum launch and FAQ. We've got a new post, which actually came out literally this afternoon.
Today?
It was pretty quick over there. That the forums are going to be returning to us on Thursday, April 11th. So actually, if you're
1 week.
Yeah. No, if you're listening to this, guess what? It's going to be live in exactly a week from today, to be honest, at 11 a.m. Pacific. So that's really cool. One of the things that I like to highlight here is that if you read the behind the forums section, pretty much exactly what we told you last week is exactly what the issue was. Just going to reach over here and pat myself on the back a little bit. I'll reach over here. Oh, I got it. Pat Storms on the back. There you go, Storms. Reach over for Alpha and Crowjack. Good job, guys.
Don't pat me on the back. You're the guys with the technical knowledge on the single sign-on service and all that jazz. I'm just sitting here going, la, 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 la.
No, but
I'm just nodding along going, yes, I understand all this techno mumbo.
I will say, if this works, though, which is really cool, they are moving ahead fairly quickly. That's the exciting part about this.
Progress.
Yes. You may not think it's progress if you're looking at it from, I'm going to say, the ignorant gamer standpoint. And ignorant isn't actually a mean thing. It literally just means ill-informed or uninformed. If you're looking at it from that point, you don't really realize how big of a thing getting a single sign-on and a single account solution really is. It's a good thing.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
It's a really good thing.
It's a very complex thing.
Oh, I mean, both Storms and I have dealt with single sign-ons, I'm sure, in our both development and current jobs, and even doing everything everywhere else. It touches so many things, especially when they're unique systems, such as account services, which are different from the actual game services, which are different from the forum services. Getting it all to integrate together is a good thing. So, credit.
I have some
credit is due.
concerns.
What are your concerns?
First concern, none of our original posts or stuff like that are able to be accessed or being archived, which is understandable. Concern that all of our posting numbers, the number of posts we've made, the number of threads we've made, all that kind of stuff we were having fun with on the original forums is not being carried over. Again, understandable. I have one main concern, though, and that is going to be the land grab of names. Your names are not saved. I want to warn you that there are, how shall we word this, polite people out there who want to politely take your name for you politely before you have a chance to take your own name. So keep that in mind to all you lovely people who want to be on the forums. You might see some fake Aggelos and Stormswords and Crowjacks out there.
No, you won't. They can try to take it, but
No,
I'll put in a ticket and they'll switch it over. So good luck.
I was going to say, just contact a mod and be like, yo, someone just jacked my name. Like,
all of us here and any of the other content creators, which I know some people are like, well, I'm not a content creator, but my name's important to me. True.
if you're a Kickstarter backer,
No, and,
You know
and
what I
that's
mean?
fine, but you're also not in the spotlight enough that most people aren't going to take your name unless you have a
Yeah.
name like
Yeah.
Sephiroth. You know, something's like everyone's going to want.
Wolf.
Yeah.
You're not in the crosshairs as much as people who actually have their names out there, you know, people stealing Crowjack's name because they can.
in before Bob tries it. Just saying. Right now, I bet you Bob will just try
He's
and do it.
sitting there refreshing the page now, even though it's a week away.
He's working at Google. Yeah, he's got a little bot running on a machine over here at Google while he's working, and he's got it running, refreshing the page, and then to execute the sign up with my name under his email. Thanks, Bob.
You think just one?
Do I think just one? Knowing Bob and the computing power he has access to?
Right.
No.
I do like it though, because for some reason I had the wrong name. Like I signed up a long time ago, so it gives me a chance to actually get Alpha.
Yeah,
Soul again.
you'll be fixed, but you know, like people like me, I'm not even worried. Someone else can steal my name, but all the mods, all the developers know me. I'll get it back in like 30 seconds. So go for it. I dare you.
Yeah.
It'd be great.
Well,
I'm not even worried about it. Anyway, so, but yeah, that is something. If your name is important to you, make sure that you go in there and get it. Don't put it off because, you know, it might not even be a malicious thing. If you have a popular name, which apparently my name is fairly popular in Greece. I didn't even know that.
Really?
Yeah. Well, as most people know, or most people here, where I got my name from was actually my Greek Bible, because I always play Holy Warrior characters, so that's what I went off of. But apparently the name is popular in Greece for men, but nowhere else. So I often get questions of, are you Greek? I'm like, no. I just
Are you into
just
wrestling?
have a Greek Bible that I study from.
Don't
No.
have that problem. I've never seen Crowjack anywhere on the internet for anything other than what I've done.
Well, except for in a D&D game. Never mind.
Okay, the original came from a Dungeons and Dragons game, and I often get mistaken for Kojak, that old 70s.
Yeah, Lollipop. Yep. 70s
Yeah, Lollipop.
detective. There you
detective
go.
guy. Yeah, that guy.
That was even before my time. Thank you very much.
Oh yeah, that's old.
That was my mom's show.
All right. So there it is. There's an FAQ if you're interested. There are some stuff in there. So check it out if you're interested. But the main takeaways, forums are coming back up on the 11th. And you will have to redo your names. And all of the previous forum is just being archived. So it's a fresh start.
Yeah, it's a fresh start.
ladies and gentlemen. All right. Let's move on to the next thing, and I actually am going to shift our notes around a little bit, as I said in our pre-show, and we are going to talk about the Beastmasters of the Niküa cosmetics that are coming out for the month of April. They were actually supposed to be from April 4th, 4 p.m. Pacific time, which is today, until May 1st is when you'll have access to them. But I think they pushed the time back a few hours to allow people to get in their previous ones from February. But so if you haven't seen this, I don't know how far they'll go with these cosmetics.
Well, they've already let it go once.
Yes. I feel like they're just shoving these down our throat and expect us to be like, thank you. You're welcome, you know?
Yeah.
No.
Just like before, they just can't hold it back anymore. You know?
I often treat a lot of their cosmetics like, they're drab little crab, but now they're all shiny and I literally watched Moana specifically to get puns. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Anyway,
I hope you caught all
I really
those puns.
do. And if you haven't, you need to go and watch Moana because it's really great. So I will say, puns aside, I had to do it. I actually like these more than I like the Jedi weapons, to be frank.
Well, yeah, because again, we talked about this in the pre-show. It fits a fantasy world better than Jedi weapons.
Yes, it does. And actually, these are realistic. When I was in New Zealand, I went down and visited for like a month or whatever it was, and I really enjoyed going through their museum and seeing all the Maori weapons. Maori. Yeah, and that was really cool. Like the Whenua. Oh, I would kill for having a Whenua at my house.
Yeah, the developers at Intrepid Studios have said that they take inspiration from a lot of different human or Earth cultures in the creation of their races and the creation of their lore and stuff like that. So yeah, why not take from that culture, which is a really cool seafaring culture, and adopt that into the game? Or just rip off Moana, depending on their perspective.
Depending on who you're talking to, that might have been what they did.
Well, they did straight up call Elsa's Castle in the live stream.
I
remember they legit called that.
Oh yeah, they
Elsa's
did.
Castle.
They did. Yeah.
So they're absolutely aware of the movie Moana.
Oh
They're
yeah,
totally aware.
I like Moana. It's a really good movie.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Sorry, haven't seen it yet.
Your kids are all older, so
Yeah.
Well, as the granddaughter comes over more and more, I think I'll end up seeing all those movies again.
Yeah, you definitely will. Side note, my wife is absolutely raging against the live-action Aladdin.
Oh, the Will Smith
Yeah.
I saw a clip of it. He looks pretty good.
She has a love affair with Robin Williams, so when he died,
Well,
yeah,
that's your
no, but her real complaint's not really Will Smith so much as the actor and actresses they had for Aladdin and Jasmine. She's like, like Aladdin looks like this kid who does, like he's supposed to be like this debonair kind of good-looking street rat. He's like got weird, goofy-looking Aladdin, and you have Jasmine who looks like just pissed to be in the movie. So anyway, not a happy camper.
huh?
Anyway, we've got the Cloak of the Seaside Mall up here on the site for anyone who's wanting to see it. And of course, if you're listening to us on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Google Play, Spotify, our SoundCloud, where you can also get our show in audio format, there will be a link in the description that will either be a direct link or we'll actually have a link to our blog post on the website dungeoncrawlernetwork.com. So definitely check that out. Cloak. I'm not even going to read the lore because it wasn't really much of lore from the last time. It is what it is.
Can this give me plus to fishing? I'd wear that.
I would wear this when I'm fishing.
You know what I mean?
Again, you got essentially a shark jaw that goes around your neck. That's what's holding this thing in there. And of course, it has.
Oh, that's the
that's
front.
the front.
Yeah.
Oh, so the shark jaw is in front of your body.
Yes.
Oh my god. Okay, that's actually kind of cool.
Yes, so that's actually going to sit, like it'll sit on your shoulders, and then you have the shark spine going down your back. I can only imagine you would smell incredibly bad with this because they have fish tied to it.
Yeah, they have fish kind of hanging off it.
You will not smell bad.
Well,
Wizards.
that depends
Wizards
what you
will
want to
magically
smell.
bibbidi bobbidi smells gone. Preserve. Wizards. It will not smell bad.
Can't say bibbidi bobbidi code.
Yeah,
Sorry.
gotta change it up just a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but no, it's neat because essentially it's a spine of a whale or a shark, and then they have seaweed mixed in with it. There's a starfish on it, fish tied to it, which again I probably could have done with the starfish. Would have been cool because you could dry them out, but the fish are and then it's a fishing net. That's what the rest of it is. So it's this weird mixture. But the shark bone front is
Sweet.
really neat. I do like that.
It looks like it's engraved or painted on in a tribal pattern.
It's
That's kind of cool.
definitely based off of the Polynesian island culture, Maori culture, that kind of stuff. So you could literally picture that or Moana, and that's what it actually is. But I actually like this. I really do. Might not fit for me, but it's still a cool thing.
You like the fact that it feels like it could fit in the world. We talked about this. You love that fact.
Definitely, especially with the Niküa and the culture that they have, these island dwarves, which I do love. I'm glad they have my traditional dwarves, but I like when they also take and they do like the split race.
Yeah, we've got island dwarves and we've got intelligent, mystical seer orcs. Like, they're doing some interesting things with traditional races.
They are. I like it. And before we even dive in, is anyone going to get any of these?
Not these ones. They don't fit my style.
Maybe the what is it? The beaver,
That's
badger,
otter, sir. How dare
otter.
you?
There you go.
Otter,
Beaver,
badger, skunk, something.
skunk, water skunk.
Otters. Facebook. I'm sitting there scrolling through, looking at what all my idiot friends are doing. And the only valuable thing anyone actually posted was somebody playing with an otter, like it was laying on them, and they were like tickling its belly, and this thing is just squeaking like crazy. It sounded like, yeah, that was pretty much my day the other day. So yeah, there you go. All right. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to get any of these either. I haven't bought any cosmetics in quite a while, and I don't think I will anytime soon.
Me neither.
Unless it's something that legit looks like the art style that I would prefer. But I think I got that only thing. But anyway.
But the art style you prefer is going to be your starting zone armor.
No, it's not a lie.
I'm sorry. I
Sorry,
just don't
starting
think they
zone
can-
armor.
Yeah, your traditional MMO starting zone armor.
Oh,
where
okay, gotcha.
The armor's
Yeah.
a traditional medieval style kind of thing.
Got it.
Even
I just don't think you can beat the space turtle. So I'm sorry. That's the last thing I bought.
Even in Guild Wars 2, I was running around in what essentially was level 10 chainmail that you got literally at level 10. That's what I got. And I wore it even at max level. Anyway.
No, I'm going to rock the Kickstarter angel attire. Hopefully I glow like a beacon so things try to attack me. That's my goal.
Next up.
Please, players, come attack
Next
me.
up, we got the Fellbeak macaw, which essentially is a macaw mixed with dodo bird? Kiwi?
Question.
What?
Pet
Oh,
or
this
mount?
is definitely a pet.
Oh, man.
No, this
I kind of want to ride that in a battle.
this is a pet because the next thing we're going to talk about is the mount. Yeah. Albeit, if you had to ride this on a mount,
Dude, like imagine his head is the height of a human, right? You jump on that thing and that beak just tears. Like, come on, let's go.
Ashes of Creation is in chat once again. Thank you so much for showing up on our live stream, and they confirmed it is a
Mount.
pet.
Ashes of Creation, please give me a mount like that.
Cool.
With like raptor claws. Make it a bird raptor
Bird
thing.
raptor?
Let's go.
Raptor bird.
Bird raptor thing with claws. And,
I mean-
I'm just kidding. But I'm not.
I mean, we already talked about the Fey Beast being like something that rides on. Anyway, going
Yeah,
nuts. Anyway, so we got that pet. Again, I don't. It fits the aesthetic, and I'm pretty good. Pretty good at that. Gonna forward that request along. Moving on to the next cosmetic. Again, you can get all of these by doing the pre-order. There's different packs, and they come with different things. Of course, if you get the Voyager Plus, I think that's everything. We don't go over the pricing on all that because we've done that in the past. It does not change. Go check out the site if you're interested in pre-ordering a copy of the game for release. Moving on to the next one, which is utterly ridiculous. Hey, it's a pun show. It's a
I
pun
get
show.
it. But,
The tiebreaker.
how big is this otter?
It's got to be big.
Because looking at the saddle, right? That gives
Let's
you some
roll
context.
this back, ladies and gentlemen. Niküa are dwarfs.
Right. So it's not as big.
I wonder if they're gonna scale this up.
I mean, it's so big.
This is something that we've never really even thought. Like, I don't think we talk too much about.
Oh
I
yeah.
already know where
Racial
you're going with
restrictions
this.
on mounts.
Yeah.
So if you buy this, do you have to
Yeah.
have a Niküa?
If I'm a freaking orc and I want to ride this thing, do I get a bigger one?
Well, Niküa aren't something that you choose, right? So
Yeah, I mean, you'd be choosing it. I'm actually kind of hoping that they don't. I really do feel like everything's just gonna
Oh, no.
scale, but I think
Yeah.
it would.
But I kind of want to be a big orc on a little
Like the otter
just to laugh
doesn't.
my ass off.
The otter doesn't.
Yeah, the otter stays. It's an otter. It's the same size. But I'm just a big old orc, and it's struggling under my weight. Like, come on.
You're like this big old orc, and the otter's underneath going squeak, 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 just trying to carry you along.
Like your feet are in the saddle, and you're holding onto the front, and you're just crouched there, and you're just rocking this otter. Like, let's go.
I'm gonna have
There
to
you
take
go.
a picture
You're in
of
that
when
otter.
I go to like amusement parks
wanna
with my
see it.
son, and he makes me ride the little kid ride. So he's
Perfect example.
like, "Daddy, get in the
That's it,
truck,"
there
and
you
I'm
are.
like, "All right," and I'm like hovering over this.
You are the truck.
Oh, I've done that, so I'm like, I'm gonna break this thing. Yeah, yeah. All right.
The otter's cool.
I do, and I am gonna read this little lore bit here because it's interesting. So, rampant magic wrought from the aftermath of Vera's end has imbued and transformed the local ecology immensely. The Tidebreaker is one such creature, and its agility and strength, atop land or under the waves, are revered by countless island warriors. So it's magic.
I was saying, remember the Tolnar? How could the races of blah 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 evolve so quickly in 5,000 years?
Magic.
Giant otters?
Magic. Or they just bred ugly people together and
confident.
went, why not?
That's
the Tolnar.
Just the uggos. We didn't let the ugly people through the gate 5,000 years ago. All the ugly ones had to stay behind. I'm sorry, sir. You're not handsome enough to get through the gate.
Onwards.
Onwards. Off you go.
Onwards. Anyway, all right. The next one from the package is, where is it? Man. Oh, that's what it is. Yeah. The Ward of Shattered Fangs. Now, this is the costume for the Niküa, and I actually do like it. It's very fitting.
There's a lot of detail.
For the style and culture, and I can actually honestly see these things being wielded in real life, which is always the big question for me, right? Is making sure that it's realistic enough.
What's up with the back pieces though? Like I'm staring at it, I'm going through it from foot to top, and I'm like, okay, I like this, I like this, I like this. But then I get to the reed back pieces. Like, why? Other than that, everything else makes like sense, functional sense. The shin guards, right? The parts around the waist, the parts to hold the knives. Everything has a function. But I don't get why there's these reeds coming out the back. Other than that,
Have you ever tried to cut
I think it
through
looks really
bamboo
good.
reeds? That's better than a shield.
okay, all right.
No,
all right, fine. You want some back protection? You want some back shield going on? Sure, but
It's
still.
no different than a motorcycle. One of those who have like the spine to keep you aligned in case you fall. You just land on bamboo.
Big difference. On
There
a
you
motorcycle, you're doing 70 miles an hour on the highway, right? You're not
Magic.
doing that in this game. Sorry, right.
Magic.
You're cruising on your otter at 70 miles an hour, and if you fall off, the back reeds keep you alive. Got it.
Yeah, magic.
I
Magic.
mean, Blood Prophet in chat actually made it camouflage fairly. I could see that.
Okay, that makes a
Yeah.
bit more sense. I'll give you
It could,
that.
it could
Points there.
also could literally we could just be looking at this too much and it could just be a backdrop. I doubt it, but you can actually
No, I
you
don't
can
think
actually
it's
see the
backdrop.
bamboo if you look down at their sandals. They're bamboo as well. They have a bamboo
Yep.
splint on their shoulder or on their calves as
Now-
a protection.
If
Yeah.
Intrepid's solution with these costumes is a one-piece equip where you slap into the costume slot and it just goes over the whole thing, unfortunate. If they allow you to, like, for example, not have the back piece, treat it like a cape slot and select to not view the cape slot, I could turn that off, I would enjoy this even more. I'm not sure their policy on how they're going to do the costumes and whether you can activate individual pieces and mix and match, or if it's just gonna be like a one-shot, boom, turn it on, the whole thing activates. I wonder what their policy is.
Here's the thing. Both Crojack and I play BDO now. And one of the things that, while I don't do it because I like symmetry, you can actually pick and choose. Many costumes come in pieces that you can mix things around. Not all of them, but some of them, you know. I'm thinking the Medora one, for instance, literally has a piece for every slot. The one I'm wearing now is only 2 pieces. Helm and body, which does everything, but whatever. It's the one I like. I would have kept it. I think they're just going to do a 1 slot, similar how ESO does it.
I think they're going to do a 1 slot.
Yeah, I think that would be the way they're going to go about it.
I do like how BDO lets you hide individual parts. You want to hide your gloves because you love the way your hands look? Go right ahead. You want to hide your chest plate? Go right ahead. You want to hide your helmet? Go right ahead. I like that. I would like to see that to give us the flexibility. But then all of a sudden we talked about how there's damage based off of weapon and armor types. So why not just hide all your armor for a competitive advantage? You don't know what I'm wearing.
That's literally what the argument was with ESO when they released the wedding dress. That was 1 piece. You could hide all the big PvP guilds. Every one of your members was in a wedding dress. You're seeing a Zerg of wedding. It's like Bridezilla
Really awkward.
coming at you.
A wave of Bridezilla.
It was crazy. But otherwise, yeah, no, I like the look of this. It's neat. It's definitely neat.
Actually, I don't often go to your chat during the podcast. This makes a ton of sense. That equipment, that armor, what happens if you have a back weapon? Whether a 2-handed weapon, a ranged weapon. What happens if you have a back weapon that should be holstered back there?
Hides it.
I mean,
Read the gun.
most of the...
1 piece is going to hide it.
I honestly think they're going to hide... Most weapons have been hid in more modern MMOs.
Yeah.
After World of Warcraft, almost every game has hidden weapons. Like, I remember DOAC, you could hide, like, put stuff on. Like, if you had a sword on your back, guess what? It showed on your back. That doesn't really happen. I know...
Video.
If you have an awakening weapon, go on a warrior and get the great sword. That does not sit on your back.
The bow for the archer sits on my back.
Does it really? Oh, wow.
The great bow sits on my back as my archer. As a Musa, did I pronounce it properly?
Yeah.
Both the sword and the bow sit
Well,
on
then
my
I got
character.
screwed as a warrior because my great sword doesn't...
You got screwed as a warrior.
My sword it might also be my costume, because my sword will sit on my hip, my shield will sit on my hip, but depending on my costume, like the frostbite costume hides the shield when it goes on my back. So it might be depending on the costume because my frostbite hides all that. And that might be a costume. So maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Still, you're right. It would be that would be a clipping nightmare if that was still there. I don't know. Anyway, this was the one boat that escaped the fire in Moana. The Twin Hunters. You know, I don't know why they call it that and not the Voyager. Because
I like this boat.
I like the boat. I like the boat a lot.
It's probably one of my favorite things I've seen of this set.
It's actually probably one of my
enjoy it.
favorite boats we've seen, period, because that's a boat that would work. Not like the weird, dragon boat with the flappy wing sails.
Like, you could honestly
love the
believe
dragon
that
boat.
you and your dad, over the course of 3 weeks, built that boat together. Right? It looks like a functional, real boat. That's cool.
100% functional, real boat. In fact, I've been on a boat like this, so... I've legitly been on the boat like this almost exact boat.
Yep.
Yeah, I actually do like it. I'm curious, though, what the scale of this is. Like, we know all these things are skins and whatnot. I'm really curious if this is a skin that's limited by the type of boat.
I would like to reskin my canoe with this skin, please. Thanks.
Could you reskin your canoe? Yes.
Well, is it the same situation with hiding stuff? You could reskin anything with it.
Right.
Yeah.
I would think.
I don't think that's necessarily the case.
Can I reskin my canoe with this? Can I reskin my galleon with this? I have questions.
Oh,
I don't
that's
know if
interesting.
we'll. I think this is going to be limited to essentially skipper-based boats and lower.
1 or 2
Yeah.
man vessels.
Yeah,
Just guessing.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
I do. I think the skins are going to be a little bit more restrictive than what you're thinking. Like, you have this skin, great. It's not going to work for everything.
On mounts, not necessarily, unless the gliding mount. Your differentiation is going to be gliding mount and non-gliding mount, and there's your 2 options. So certain skins won't. You can't put wings on a non-gliding mount. You know what I mean? But you're right. On these sea vessels, depending on how many tiers of boats they decide to have and how small and or big they can get to, you're right. There's going to be a lot of restrictions.
Right, indeed. Anyway, that is actually probably one of the cooler boats that I've seen so far. With the exception of the weird under-depth one that looks like an anglerfish.
That one's
Yeah.
badass. I love
Very
it.
realistic, but I mean, it's an anglerfish.
Hey, Steven said, what if, in big quotations, what if the maw ate a vessel after you sank it?
Then it would crap
That's
it
cool.
out. Like, it wouldn't become a boat. Fishery of the waves. 100% like it, especially if you're playing in Niküa. If I actually would have an alt that was a Niküa, I would have this for a freehold. 100%.
I wonder, like, do you know what this is supposed to
A
reskin?
freehold building.
A freehold building.
But
Yeah.
Is it like a fishery?
So they did mention somewhere, I forgot where, but they mentioned that. Wait, did they?
I don't remember.
Let me think on that for a second.
I know there's probably some
really cool.
limitations, like what kind of building it would have to be before you can do it. Like my the one freehold skin I have was from the Protector's Pride pack or whatever they called it at the time. I think it was even before they had names for it, to be frank. But it's a giant cathedral. I'm assuming only a hall type building can have that.
Yeah, you're not going to convert your blacksmith into a cathedral,
Maybe.
right?
Why
If you have
not?
blacksmiths on your plot, unless you want to.
I should really want to.
Dude, hitting that anvil in those beautiful echoes of a cathedral.
Oh yeah,
let's do it.
sound waves with a bunch of glass.
right.
That sounds great. Clink. Psh. There goes all my stained glass.
Sounds awesome.
Dude, excuse me, magic reinforced with magic, not going to shatter. Come on, let's go.
I hate
Wizards
that
and stuff.
magic comment so
I
much.
Wizards
know.
and stuff.
It's the answer for everything.
That is like the Mary
yeah, like-
Sue of solutions for
It
everything.
honestly is. It honestly is.
Looks like a tanning hut. I could see a tanning hut. You could do that. Yeah.
Cooking, fishing,
If you want to live.
stuff like that.
Okay, it's safe to say the fishing. Basically, Lieutenant Toast went ahead and said that it could, when you place it on any freehold, literally it'll create that pond underneath.
That's
so,
cool.
yeah,
It literally becomes a fishing
If you
hut
want
then.
water.
You can just fish out of the little
Want-
hole.
yeah.
I don't like it.
Is there desert biomes in Ashes of Creation? Do we have confirmation of that?
It would have to be if the. Well, I shouldn't say have to be because we don't know much about Vera, but.
Oh, there's
yeah,
one culture, that's right.
Veilun.
I think that, yeah, of course, Veilun, yeah, the one that I'm gonna go. Yeah.
Instant Oasis. Let's go.
Let's just
There you go,
hope
try
that
it.
they do the race right, and we talked about this in the past. Alpha Soul had this discussion with me so many times that most MMO characters, black characters, don't look like they
Oh,
don't.
yeah.
They're
Sorry, yeah.
Caucasian
Right.
with dark skin.
Yeah.
They just don't look right.
Yeah. They don't change the character model to make
Yeah.
it work with that,
Yeah,
that
no.
particular race. You're right.
I'm really, really hoping that they do this right because that's the one kind of irk that I have with a lot of these
Yeah.
games coming out. If not, then I'm probably going to end up playing a female or something else.
You gotta
basically.
be your
But
beautiful
yeah.
black man. You can't do that if you're a Caucasian with dark skin.
yeah, look at
Yeah,
World of Warcraft. Jeez.
yeah.
I've only known one game that actually did the African races well, and that was Guild Wars 2, because when they went to
Yeah.
the Path of Fire expansion, they actually released new models specifically for that, and they looked fantastic. Absolutely,
Yeah. Even the hair. The hair was like on point. Yeah.
bone structure, everything was on point. It was beautiful, and I love to see that. And it's just like so few games actually accomplish that. But even with the I hope there's actually enough of a difference because they also encompass what would be more of the Arabic nations as well. So you kind of have to have a little bit more diversity. Same with the Kalar. I mean, yeah, we're all essentially Caucasian, but there are different scales of that. Not much, but there are.
Yeah.
Anyway, off of that, moving on. That's literally it. Those are the cosmetics for this month. Real quick, again, if you're looking at the pre-orders, the Wayfarer pack has the cloak. The Expeditionary pack has the cloak and the bird. Voyager has the otter and the bird. And then the Voyager Plus has everything. So there you go. There's everything for you. All right. Moving on to our last bit of news for this week, guys. We're going to go over the live stream Q&A that was held on March 29th. I will say, we are not going to go over everything, but I highly encourage you to go and read the full Q&A because there were a lot of good questions asked. Due to the time restraints of our show, I only picked out a handful of questions that I thought were really good that I wanted to highlight and talk about. But there were a lot of good questions that were asked.
Oh, yeah.
Specifically one by Aggelos, even though they completely read it wrong and messed up the answer.
So, some fool named Aggelos.
Some Aggelos guy?
I've heard that name before.
Sounds
Hold on, I
kind of
just gotta
familiar.
hit my giant mute button here, so...
Oh, yeah, eh?
No, but like they totally botched my question. By the way, like the question was not the amount of like I was asking about the size of node cities, not the nodes themselves, because we were talking about this in past shows about world size and what makes a world feel large. I wanted to know about city sizes. Is it 3 huts? But they actually took it as the entire size of a node. I'm like, no, I just really want to know what the city looks like. Are we going to walk into a metropolis with 3 buildings? But
how many buildings? You know, how much square footage? How long to walk across it?
But no, they didn't answer my question. Well, they did. They just said no, we're not gonna.
Hard.
Yeah. They banked left on that one really hard and.
Yep, hard left.
Hard pass. Thanks a lot, guys. Much appreciated. Anyway, I'm not bitter.
You're not salty
Not
at
at
all.
Not at all.
No, not at all.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but I even see chat less fluff. There was a lot of good questions, and one of the things I really liked is the way they did it. They had the content creator questions that they gathered from us ahead of time, and there was a lot of good ones in there. Then they actually gathered questions from each of the different language groups, because I feel like a lot of the other language groups don't get represented, especially if they only speak French or German. They're not going to attend the live stream.
Yeah.
And I highly doubt they're going to translate. These were probably, written in that language and then Google translated or something. To me.
Yeah, definitely a good move. I think it's a lot to do with Lieutenant Toast and Margaret kind of fielding the questions and then sifting out, the ones that have been asked already, so we don't have to kind of sit through half of the questions being questions that we've already heard about 5 times.
Yeah, then they can approach Steven and everyone with their list of questions after filtering and go, give us some yes or no's. Are you going to answer this one, not this one, not this one?
And this is something that you learn as you go along. We've done it in the past too, so we're guilty of it, but there's nothing that is, I guess, not entertaining as going, let's see if chat has questions. Hold on, we're still reading chat. That's what this silence is. Oh, no, that's not a good question. Let's keep watching chat. That's what this, anyway.
Yeah.
A couple of notes right off the bat. They have 17 positions at Intrepid that they're looking to fill that you can find on their career page. So if you are a sadist and really want to get into the gaming industry, go for it.
Yeah, no.
No.
I'm good. Not for me.
No. We talked about this in our Discord, and I'll say this. I'll give props
I
to
don't
Intrepid
think so.
for this, but I would never want to get into game development because not only do you have to deal with
Hell no.
insane timelines and jerk bosses that you have to do normally, you then also have to deal with a bunch of quote-unquote whiny kid gamers who expect the world from you, and if you don't give them that, they just tear through it.
Or whiny adult gamers. Let's get real.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Actually, I know a lot of kid gamers who probably are better behaved than a lot of adult gamers. But
it's so true.
yeah. But having to deal...
Because with age comes expectation.
Right. And having to deal with what your consumer base is who you're supposed to be trying to make happy, but gamers are never happy. So, if you are one of these 17 brave people, by all means, check out the careers page. I don't know. I 13 sign. I don't know. Good luck. Anyway. And they also made a note, which we talked about. So they said earlier in a segment, we had stated that losing a siege would cause the node to de-level or be destroyed. However, with the design changes, we've decided that when a node loses a siege, it will be destroyed all the way down to level 0. This stuff that will require testing, and there's always room for changes, which is the entire point of testing. But that is a change that if a node loses a siege, it gets burnt to the ground.
I am all for this. Common freaking sense. You have a beautiful metropolis with great big walls, but you lose the siege. You get successfully sacked. Why would you leave anything standing? What are you going to do? Go through as an attacker and go, you know what? This building here, we'll leave it. This section, we'll leave it. Leave it alone. Let it be a city afterwards. When we're done, we're going to walk away. It'll be a city when it's done. Don't touch this space over here. Just ransack over here. No. I'm ransacking the whole bloody place, and I'm burning the damn thing to the ground.
So I do think it's going to be changed, or I honestly think it's going to be changed. Metropolises make sense. I'm still not convinced that it's the way to go for every single node. Like if a node loses and it gets wiped to the ground going up, then to me that the balance that you have to achieve between getting a node from the absolute bottom to the top is skewed in it's skewed to either be really easy or something that is just going to be so devastating if you do lose it, because you got time invested, that it might not convince people to stay, if you will.
That's a fun thought, right? Balancing how easy it is to attack or how easy it is to defend, the incentive to attack, the incentive to defend. If you go too far one way, it's either going to be a whole lot of attacking or no attacking. Everyone just kind of chills in their happy little metropolises and stuff. How do you find a healthy balance, and what is a healthy balance? I don't know.
Yep.
Well, a healthy balance would be members of Guild A are citizens of Node A and B. And the mayor of Node A wars on Node B, and the citizens of Node A are now at war with themselves?
Pretty much.
Yes. There are various agencies that have hierarchy. Guilds, node citizenship, etc. All these affiliations have hierarchy. Your citizenship is your greatest superseding relationship. If you're part of a guild and there's members that are part of multiple nodes, the members of that node will be first and foremost citizens of that node that defend it. Maybe in some guilds.
I like city-states before all else
I do too.
in this. Love it. Love it. It's like countries before all else in our world, in the modern Earth world. Countries before all else. I don't care what your affiliation is, what your job is. If your country's at war with that country, you're not doing trade or commerce or anything with them. It's just the way it is.
All I know is Alpha Soul has video proof that both him and I have no qualms about killing guild members multiple times.
Nope.
Hell yeah.
So you either side with us or we will smite you down.
Yeah, I'm warning you, lovely guild members, if you want to go to that town over there and establish yourself in that town over there, just warning you. If we attack you, sorry.
I will kill you for your
all
boots. And I have done that in the VR.
And then have a beer with you afterwards, only to steal your second pair of boots.
Yes. Indeed. This was fascinating because I know we talked about it in the DCN Discord. If you are not a part of that, again, there's a link in the description below. I encourage you to join in on the discussion. The idea of guild versus citizenship, that there's a hierarchy of, hey, if you're in a guild that's part of a different warring node, guess what? There is no friendly fire safety from you because you can be killed by your own guild mates.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's one thing you got to learn.
I mean, I get it. I'm not sure how I feel about it.
What instance would a guild split up their guild amongst
Progression?
many different city-states?
Yeah. Progression.
Well, in that, you know what though? Beautiful thing. When it comes to sieges, we know days, if not a week in advance, that this is about to go down. So get your butt back to town, to this side of town, to this town, and defend this, because this is where the main base is for our guild. You can go over there, be a part of that, get your progression you want. But war's coming. Come home and defend home.
Right.
I'm curious as to the little intricacies that we're going to see within that node system. Like, for example, let's say, we're all part of the same node, right? But for some reason or another, running out of hunting space within this node, and I go to another node's area and hunt, but I'm still a citizen of the other one. What is the experience for that going to go into? Is it going to go into our native node, or is it going to, be
It would
put
go into the other node.
I imagine the other node.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Node you're in.
Okay.
What about paying taxes? If I'm hunting on an enemy node's land, do I have to pay taxes? Do I have to pay a fee to be allowed to hunt here, for example, or to be allowed to mine here? Or
Depends how taxes.
I still
are
have to
gonna
pay
work.
VAT
Are they
taxes.
Automatic.
If I'm shipping
Yeah.
a mine from the EU, I still have to pay VAT taxes if it's applicable, even though I don't live there.
And that might just what if you pay taxes of that ZOI/node, but then get taxed again back at home in your home node when you travel back to sell everything?
Yeah, you get double taxed.
You better be damn sure.
No, you would.
Yeah.
There better be some.
I mean,
Yeah.
traders deal with that all the time, like custom fees and stuff like that. You're dealing with the fees from the country of origin. You're paying them for the raw resources and their taxes. Then you're paying customs fees to get it through to sell it in your. That's why do you think in between airports and stuff they have the duty-free areas where it doesn't leave?
Can I role play in the game as a toll booth guard and just charge people every time they cross the bridge from one node to another?
You mean a troll?
I don't know why. I'm literally a troll.
Literally a bridge troll.
Yeah.
You want to use my bridge to either beat me in a duel or pay me a
I
pittance.
love it. This is actually something that I wanted to highlight because there's only one line here that I find incredibly interesting. We all know about nodes, and we know they're static, right? That's what we know.
Yeah.
But let me read this question to you. Will there be a way to see what type of node you are contributing to starting out? We should all know this, right? Well, yeah, the NPCs, right? And that's what the answer is. Verbatim, when a node first starts out, there will be indicators of what node type it is, such as the NPCs that arrive, etc. There won't be any map indicators. But you will have to get it to level 1 to see what type it is, not level 0. Your activities as a player dictate what you will see. That line. Your activities as a player will dictate what you see.
Oh, I'm so happy. Oh, we had the longest argument ever podcasts ago about the RNG nature of node beginnings.
Or the week before.
Oh, there was a more intense one even further.
We do it
back.
quite frequently.
We do it quite frequently. Because I want sheer player control over as many aspects as possible. And some of you guys mentioned that RNG could be useful here. But that sentence you said, that's player autonomy in terms of what grows there.
Wait, no. Wait, sorry, say it again.
All right.
Say it again.
Read the
All
first
right, I'm going to read the one before it, but you will have to get the node to level 1 to see what type it is, not level 0. Your activities as a player dictate what you will see.
Straight up. It's
No,
player
time out.
control node.
No, that's
When
not what that means. I think I know what you guys are talking about. It's not that you go in, kill monsters, and you're a military node. That's not what they're saying there.
That's not what I'm saying?
they're saying that depending on what you're doing, you may be able to determine what type of node that actually is.
It sounds like we're saying the same thing. If I'm fishing and
no.
gathering,
Well,
it becomes an economic node.
No, that's why I'm saying that's not it. I don't think that's what they're saying. I think what they're saying is depending on what you're doing, you can see what the node will be, what is going to be. Right?
Okay, so what
Like,
you're saying is RNG occurs, it becomes node blah. And then as players begin to do things, they can uncover what the node already RNG decided.
No, I'm saying that that's not what I'm saying.
I don't understand.
I'm honestly
I'm
not getting
saying-
it either.
Okay, they've already said that the nodes are predetermined.
Okay.
That hasn't changed. So there is no
Right.
RNG nature to what the
But
node will be.
What about my question I had before? What if there's 4 nodes in close proximity that when one activates, the 3 others deactivate? You know what?
Wait,
okay.
what do you mean? Sorry.
This was the argument I had made prior. The nodes are all predetermined, but there's 4 nodes in close proximity to each other that will encompass the 4 types. Whenever you're gathering experience in an area, the experience goes to those nodes. Whichever one hits level cap first becomes the node in question. The node at the base of the hill will always be a military node, but 100 yards away is a node that could have been economic. And that's why when I read that line, what activities are you doing? Like, once the NPCs show up, you know what it is. But why is that line there?
See, I see what you're saying. I don't think that's the case. Because I still think that when you develop that node, the other node, that's, whatever, however far away can still develop. Because they still haven't, wavered from there are 103 nodes. Each node has its own thing. Like, I doubt.
No,
I haven't heard
agree
anything
with
yet.
that. I just think there's going to...
All I want to know is how is the decision of which node pops up, whether it's military, science, blah, 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 figured out? Is it RNG or is it player action?
And if 103 nodes...
I don't think it's either one.
It's neither.
I think they've already placed them.
have.
Yeah, they've already
They're already placed in the world, and they're all level 0. They're all in the world, they're all level 0.
And they
How do you-
predetermined what version they are.
But given the map size of the world, we already talked about map size and how 103 nodes, okay, 103 potential cities. How much space does that mean that I literally am doing questing within a 20 by 20 square grid is the only way I'm going to get experience because they're going to have to be fairly close together. You know what? To fit 103 on a map, I would think it. And as they grow, they're supposed to cancel each other out. And as their ZOI grows out, and then others kind of become vassal nodes. But my thought is that of all those nodes, there are certain nodes that are so close together that they share experience, but depending on what kind of activity you're doing, so you have 4 nodes in close proximity, and depending on what kind of activity you're doing, combat, everyone gets a little experience, but the military node gets a little more. Gathering, whatever the case may be, whatever you're doing in that area, it gets filled in, and then whichever node hits level cap first, it then levels up, becomes the node, and then the 3 other nodes that were closest deactivate, and then any other node, as the ZOI grows, it then starts encompassing others.
So, I hear what you're saying. I really don't think that's the case.
So what triggers a node to go from level 0 to level 1?
Experience.
Actions.
All right. And
Yeah, your actions, basically. Yeah.
Okay. Now, so the nodes are all placed around the world, and they're static, and they're specific types. Science is here, military is here, blah, 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 around the map. So in order to level up the science node that you notice over here, you have to just quest in that area and kill mobs in that area of that specific node to pop the science node.
That's the way it seems to be, yes.
So players do then have a choice of how they make their nodes. They can go, I want a military node. I know there's a military node over there, so I'm going to go quest over there and grind over there and kill mobs over there and make
If they know that.
If they know what that node is.
And they will know that
yes.
by alpha.
At first,
I
we
don't think
probably
they
won't.
will. I don't think they will.
I mean, well, Aggelos is right. They will know by alpha
They're-
the set because they've already said that it's not going to differ between servers. It's all set, right? So we'll know eventually where every single node is and what type of node it is.
Which
We'll
ultimately
know
answers.
unless they change those when you go from alpha.
Yeah, what if they just go?
That is true.
They
could change
but
them. Yeah.
right?
the lazy programmer in me says, who's going to do that? Because
And why would you want to move the merchant node away from the
Depends how
water?
You set it up, right?
Yeah.
That's how it depends how they set it up. If they intend to do that, then it's not hard to do. But if they don't intend to do it, then they're going to set it up the different way and it's very hard to do.
And this answers my main question. If I want a military node, I can make a military node.
No,
And it's not just a roll of the dice that goes, all right, let's level this node to 1 and see what we get. No, we know where they are. So if I wanted one, I can go get one or go do
Yes. If you want one, you can go to one.
So long as you
You'll
do the
just need to
research and know where they are around the world.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
Right, and they'll know, and you'll know relatively early what type of node it is. What type of node it is.
Yep.
By I think they gave an example of like NPCs that are around there that show up at level 1.
If they decide to shuffle the board for release and we don't know where the nodes are on release and they decide to shuffle everything, it might take a handful of months until all servers start reporting to wikis where these nodes are, and eventually we'll figure it out.
interesting. I'm disappointed by that because I really like the idea of random.
Roll the dice.
Like,
See, yeah, I remember now. You were the one that wanted random. I wanted player control. We debated this for like forever over multiple
I
podcasts.
know. I just.
It still could be what you're talking about. I just haven't seen them say or hear them say anything about any nodes being, overtaken before level 3.
But the reason why I highlight this is because Steven specifically says that he wants like he this is going under the assumption that no one knows, because Steven's like, no one's gonna know. I want it to be an adventure about what's out there.
Yes,
so
he has
with
said
that
that.
statement,
Okay.
assuming nobody went to the wiki and looked things up, why is that like? I get your statement. Your actions will determine. Yeah, if I want a military node, I know an alpha. It would that one right across the river is a military. But I almost feel like every statement he makes, and this may be an assumption on my part, is based on assuming that the player base knows nothing about the world and everyone's exploring it together for the first time. And therefore, what do my actions matter if I don't know what my actions are actually doing?
If he wants that first time experience of no one knowing a darn thing, you gotta just shuffle stuff. You have to go, because Alpha's open. We're gonna be making content, videos, streams. The world's gonna know what Alpha 2 and Beta 1 and Beta 2 is. So unless you shuffle stuff before release, we're gonna know. Guilds are gonna know and do research of where their favorite military or merchant node is gonna be. If they do it that way, they'll do the research and they'll make a beeline there on day 1 and level up and take control of that merchant node, for example. Unless you shuffle the world, or as we said earlier, make everything RNG, the spawning RNG.
Yeah.
So the other reason I think that it doesn't really conflict with anything, but the other reason I think it's set in stone is another comment they made about a lot of these procedural, or the engine that they have that generates the towns as they grow, being able to build bridges and little stream, over streams, and being a little bit more interactive with the environment as it grows. And if they have this all set in one place versus something of the other, I don't think that it will change of what the nodes are. If that makes any sense.
We're almost at the end of time, so I'm actually only going to pull out one more. You were right. I'm glad we did it this way.
I called it. I knew
I'm
it.
only going to bring out one more of the 6 questions because this one I think is interesting and actually also kind of makes me think a little bit more. Can we have more details about military node functionality and class combat training? That's not the interesting part. The interesting part is this will be gone over in a blog post / article later. Military nodes augment your combat abilities in PvE and PvP, and that ability stays within the ZOI of the node. This encourages players to focus around the node. Stay tuned for more news.
Stays in the ZOI.
Yeah. So any buff you would get from a specific node does not follow you, even if you're a citizen of the node and go somewhere else.
Yeah, you have to assume that's going to be across the board for
Yeah.
all node types. They're not just going to punish the military nodes and say, if you leave the military node, no more benefits, but other ones are good. No, they're going to make that across the board.
But
for all
that
nodes.
also means that within the citizenship part, like, yeah, you get the buffs. It's not so much when you leave citizenship and get something else, you're willingly saying, I don't want your buff anymore. I'm going somewhere else. This is assuming you're still a citizen of that node and then venture outside the ZOI. You now lost that, whatever that buff would be.
We just talked earlier in the podcast about hunting, gathering, etc. outside the zone of influence. You lose your buffs. That's so... I get it, but I don't know if I like it. I don't know how I feel about this.
Like they said, it makes you stay in that node, which is also weird because of the conflicting nature of the game with needing to go to different nodes for progression. And then also the idea that they keep saying you don't own a node, you're supposed to move around, and yet you only get buffs when you're a citizen of the node and you're in that ZOI.
Man, until they put the systems into play and see how they play, like, we can't take all of this for 100% certainty, right?
No.
Right. They got to put the systems in play, let them interact and go, okay, this isn't working, this isn't working, this is great.
Yeah, all of this is subject to change.
I am really curious about that as well, the skill system and how, because it just seems really weird to me that we'll see. We'll see.
Anyway,
what is it about the dirt in that zone of influence that gives me the power? But as soon as I step on that other dirt over there, my power goes gone.
We've reached the end of this podcast, but if you are a live viewer or a supporter of the show, we will be continuing this same discussion in the post show. So guess what? It's more of Ash's talk in the post show this week. So we're going to continue this. But of course, I encourage you to check out the entire Q&A for yourself. It'll be in the description of the podcast below. I want to thank my amazing co-host, Stormslord Digital Piper Studios, makes games, does awesome stuff. Amazing developer, awesome guy. Check out his stuff. We got Alpha Soul, who does a bunch of videos for Ash's Creation news recaps, and again, also another awesome guy. And of course, Crowjack, who has now streaming on YouTube full time again.
Full time, 3 times a day.
3 times a day on YouTube. Definitely check him out, youtube.com/Crowjack. All of his videos and streams. Amazing guy. Love to have him on the show. You guys should watch all his stuff too, as well as all of my co-hosts. Definitely check that out. And of course, if you want to follow me, you're just going to go over to the DungeonCrawlerNetwork.com because guess what? That's where I do everything. There you can find links to all of our social media, including Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Be sure to check out our Patreon program at patreon.com/DungeonCrawlerNetwork if you want to help support the show. You can also do that by leaving us a 5-star review on iTunes so people know that we are a real podcast, that we say real words. Sometimes they matter. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of From the Ashes. We will see you next time. See you later.